Welcome. You made it to the online MycoSleep Essentials course. This is part of the course curriculum that accompanies the purchase of MycoSleep, my formula to help people attain the sleep that they so badly need, want, and deserve. So, one of the fascinating topics of health and well-being is sleep, and it's so integral to the way we live. Yet so many people have problems with it, and it's not really tackled. It's not really looked after, or the importance of quality sleep hasn't been emphasized enough. The amount of diseases that are connected to poor sleep is endless. And maybe focusing on good quality sleep might just be the solution that you need. And that's why you're on this course. When it comes to sleep, from a physiological perspective, in our evolution, when you're sleeping, you are under threat. So you're susceptible to attack. You're not procreating. So you're not furthering the species. You're not producing food. You're actually quite useless. And if it was such a useless activity, well, then evolution would have phased it out and you wouldn't need it anymore. But yet, here you are, requiring good quality sleep. It is an extremely important part of your health and wellness protocol. And it must be looked at as a panacea, a way that you can really benefit all of the systems of the body with a simple solution. So, how exactly does sleep tie into the organ systems of the body or the diseases that people are susceptible to? Did you know that in the Geneva Convention, it is illegal to have prisoners of war deprived of sleep? We can shoot people, but we can't deprive them of sleep. This is how important sleep is. And that is just how dangerous and despicable sleep deprivation is. Now, how many of us are sleep deprived? Quite a few people can put their hand up. Quality of sleep that you have is intimately related to your organ systems, your immune system, and more. If we look at a dreadful diagnosis that's affecting more and more of us and more of our family members every day, cancer. Just look at this. Routinely sleeping less than 6 or 7 hours a night doubles your risk of cancer. That's a frightening statistic. And I know many people that are not getting their 6 or 7 hours of sleep. But we have to address this. The following information that I'm going to share with you is from a book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker, who's a sleep physiologist. And he shares with us some incredible information in his book. Now, how would sleep relate to the cardiovascular system? It'd be so difficult for you to go, well, how does my heart and sleep matter? But did you know that fewer than 6 hours a night of sleep, the people that get that are 200% more likely to have a heart attack or stroke? A frightening statistic. And how many heart conditions out there? We're giving these people heart medications when they actually need a good quality sleep. From an immune perspective, one single night of 4 hours of sleep, really disrupted night's sleep. Imagine somebody who's got a young baby, or somebody who's had a terrible sleep with some pets making noises, or they were sick, demolishes the natural killer cells, which are little cells that eat up the bugs inside your bloodstream. It wiped away about 70% of them in one of the studies that I saw. This is a scary statistic. So those last 3 slides just illustrate that we have got sleep and it's intimately connected to our organ systems. It affects the immune system and it affects our quality of life. It even affects your heart health. So I wanted to give you solutions and not just problems. So in the next few slides, we'll discuss what we can do to enhance sleep. So what can we do about it? What are the quick hacks? What are the things we can apply in our daily lives that are going to make a difference and going to improve your quality of sleep? We're going to start with my favorite, caffeine. Many people, including myself, need caffeine in order to feel like they're going to get up and have a great day. And what we want to try and achieve is to be able to hack using these, call them medicines, if you will, to extract the best out of them, to break the habits that we have with them so that we don't interrupt quality of sleep. Now, caffeine undoubtedly affects sleep. And even in those subsets of people, you get people that say, oh, I have a nice espresso and then I go to sleep. Studies have taken place. Their brain function shows that they sleep at about a 20% reduced rate. In order for you to achieve such poor sleep, you would have to age 10 years. So, in theory, having caffeine at a specific time of day is going to age your sleep 10 years forward. That's really worrying. So, what do? Caffeine has got something called a half-life, which means the time taken for half of the amount of caffeine to still be present in the blood. It's 6 hours, which means the quarter life is 12 hours. So, if I had a cup of coffee, a quarter of that cup of coffee is still active in my bloodstream 12 hours later. One of the hacks, or one of the ways that I've managed to deal better with my caffeine intake is to minimize all caffeine strictly after lunchtime, and actually been working on 12 hours before bedtime, which works out as a really nice rule. If you go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, well, then 9 a.m. in the morning is your cutoff. Get your caffeine before then so that your body's got 12 hours to process that caffeine and get rid of it. I think that's a really workable solution for caffeine. When it comes to things like energy drinks, even if they say sugar-free, they are loaded with preservatives, colorants, toxins. It's just not stuff that you want in the body. These are excitotoxins. They make the body in a state of excitement. Just ask somebody who has a brandy and Coke. Same thing. Here we are drinking energy drinks. We do need to address is the lack of energy that you have in your normal metabolism that you're trying to out-medicate with caffeine. Got to start using these as medicines. It's okay, well, caffeine helps me get up in the morning, but if you're drinking 6 to 12 cups of coffee a day, we need to address the fatigue that you're trying to out-medicate. When it comes to caffeine, cut it 12 hours before bedtime and try to minimize it. Try decaf. Maybe slowly transition your way down to like a tea instead. We live in a world that's really disconnected from the way nature is outside. You look at these new exercises where people do cold ice baths and go spend time in freezing water, synthetically recreating things that used to be normal. When it comes to temperature, keeping heaters on or air conditioners on in the house is potentially going to impact your sleep. One of the ways that you can improve falling asleep is to mimic the sunset. How interesting is that? When the sun starts to set, the temperature starts to drop. What can be useful is that you take a shower or have a bath, and it's not really so dependent on the temperature of the bath or shower, but actually the cooling of the body thereafter that mimics sunset. When it comes to air conditioning or heaters, we tend to sleep better in a slightly cooler room rather than a warm one. So watch that the temperature of your room isn't too hot. Make sure that your duvets don't make you cook in the bed. You want to be slightly cooler than warm. Cool, better sleep. Warm, not so great. When it comes to light, I'm going to go back again to sunset. We've become so disconnected from the natural order of things. When the sun used to set 150 years ago, it was pitch dark. Pitch dark. You couldn't see in front of your hand. Now go outside. There's street lamps everywhere. There's synthetic light wherever you look. And if you look in your home, you'll find there's lights on all the time. How must the brain and the body recognize that the sun is set and that it's time to start winding down, getting the melatonin and the hormones ready for sleep to start being produced in the brain? It's not going to do that if the sun's still up. The sun's still up. So I would suggest installing dimmer switches, using candles. Load shedding is the most wonderful opportunity to see what it's like when it's really dark early. You tend to cuddle up and get into bed quite soon. Dim your lights as much as possible. If you don't have dimmers, well, don't use as many lights in the home, but start understanding that the brain needs to appreciate the fact that there is a sun that's set, that night time has now arrived, and it's now time to go to bed. When it comes to food, we really do need to get serious about the quality of fuel that we're putting in our body. Ultra-processed foods, sugars, and stimulating foods, which is what they are, just before bedtime, really bad idea. So the golden rule is to avoid food approximately 2 hours before bedtime. It really is a good idea to go to bed fasting, and then you'll breakfast the next day. It's well documented that going to bed on a full stomach is just not a good idea. You dream more and you don't enter deep sleep. when it comes to dinner time, eating dinner at 8 o'clock at night is not going to be conducive to good quality sleep. Highly recommend that if you start to wind down and feel like you want to get to bed by about 8 o'clock, that 6 o'clock is the cutoff time for dinner. Yes, it's difficult to manage this and plan this because we have a family. We need to cater to everybody's needs, but shifting dinner time a little bit forward is incredibly valuable when it comes to improving your quality of sleep. Alcohol, oh, this lovely substance. So many people use it to wind down and relax. And many feel that there is a benefit to using a drink to help them go into that state of relaxation before bedtime. Here's the thing. Alcohol causes more sleep disruption throughout the night. It may indeed help you fall asleep, but it removes what we call deep sleep and is not the most effective sleep remedy out there. Alcohol is just not good for the body in no matter what quantity. We've been lied to by the industries that govern the food supply that alcohol is good for you in certain amounts. Turns out zero alcohol is good for you. It's very important to realize that if you're using alcohol to improve your sleep, it's not the right way to go. And using it as a nighttime sleep enhancing medication isn't a good idea. Try and avoid it as best you can. Let's talk about the bed. The bed is supposed to be a divine space. The bed is only for two activities, sex and sleep. If you find you're on your phone in bed, it's not conducive to either of those activities. If you've got a TV in the room, not a great idea. You are using the bedroom as an area for entertainment. It needs to be kept divine. We need to really try and make it a sacred space and say, that's where I rest. We need to start getting rid of the laptop, this absurd notion of doing work while we're lying in bed. Bad news. It cannot be done. We must create associations in the brain that say, oh, I'm lying down on that comfortable surface, therefore, and then the brain starts to produce the hormones necessary to get a good quality sleep in. Please, please, please keep the bed sanct and keep that space reserved for those two activities. If we need to break these down, and you need to remember this very quickly, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. 1 hour before bedtime, no screen time. Really simple stuff. Get off the phone, get off the television, no laptops. Reading a book is okay though. Good idea. 2 hours before bed, don't eat anymore. Start going to bed on an empty stomach. And 3, don't drink liquids 3 hours before bedtime. When the sun sets, no more liquids. Do you know why? You don't want to wake up to pee. Waking up to go and pee is disruptive to your sleep cycle. Try and get your liquids in early. Try and make sure that you're hydrating correctly throughout the day. But when the sun sets, try to avoid liquids. It really can mess with your sleep. So MycoSleep, this is a product that you're hopefully going to be using for an extended period of time. I would suggest 2 moon cycles, 2 28-day cycles to try and really initiate a healthy sleep response. I put 5 of the best supplements in there, 5 of the best ingredients in there. I couldn't find anything better. But in order to get the effective dose necessary, you need to be taking 3 capsules at sunset. MycoSleep's got magnesium in it. Now, magnesium's been shown to improve sleep quality and reduce insomnia. GABA, absolutely lovely supplement. I've used GABA previously. Feels like somebody switched off the voices. So GABA has been proven to slow down the brain and get you to fall asleep sooner. When I say switch off the voices, what I mean by that is the busyness. You closed your eyes, but man, that film is still going and turning. GABA is a beautiful way to dull that down slightly. L-theanine. L-theanine is an ingredient that you find in tea. It's so good. With caffeine, what it does is it slows the caffeine response. So those people interested in biohacking might even take a capsule of MycoSleep first thing in the morning with their coffee, and it'll slow the caffeine rush that you get and not crash you at the bottom, much like when you have caffeine through tea. L-theanine improves sleep quality and it also reduces sleep disturbances in people with anxiety-related sleep problems. We have an onslaught of people struggling with anxiety, and anxiety and insomnia are 2 sides of the same coin. There isn't a single person with anxiety who sleeps well. And if they say they sleep well, they probably don't once you investigate slightly further. You ask them, well, do you use caffeine to stay awake? Do you wake up multiple times in the day? Or are you using sleeping tablets? You'll find that anxiety and sleeplessness very much hand in hand. You've got to address sleep if you really want to look into anxiety. L-theanine is a beautiful ingredient for that. Lemon balm, or Melissa officinalis, part of the mint plant. It's got a lemony smell to it, improves sleep quality and reduces insomnia. Again, in people who've got mild to moderate anxiety, there seems to be this real tie-in between anxiety and sleeplessness that MycoSleep really will tackle. Reishi mushroom, used in traditional Chinese medicine to improve sleep quality and decrease sleep latency. As I mentioned earlier, sleep latency is the time it takes for you to close your eyes and drift down into sleep. Guess what? You've made it. That's the end of it. You really do need to remember the 1, 2, 3, and the ingredients are here to help you. They're in a proper quantity and in the correct dosage. Please take the proper dose and at least finish the course. Don't expect this to work the same as a narcotic. It's not a narcotic. It's not a benzodiazepine, and it doesn't have the side effects of that. It is a slow-acting, sleep-improving formula, but you must look at your behaviors that are disrupting your sleep patterns. Remember, 1 hour before bedtime, no screens. 2 hours before bedtime, no food. 3 hours before bedtime, no liquids. Remember caffeine, 12-hour quarter life. Remember alcohol, bad news, doesn't allow you to fall asleep. Try and put these factors together, and I hope you dos lekker. If you need to get hold of us, these are my socials over here. Get hold of us at any time. If you've ever got queries or questions, give us a shout. I'm here to help. I hope you enjoyed this course, and as a result of you doing this properly, you will get a little discount on your next purchase. I congratulate you on taking it this far, and we'll supply you with a discount code in the next slide. I would love for you to subscribe to our newsletter on our website. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our page. And if you have it in your heart and you feel like other people could benefit from the product as well as the information that you've received, please share this on your socials. Get hold of people that you love and take better care of them, or at least let me try and help them. Thank you again for attending this course. Sleep tight.